Maybe it's just me and my advancing age, or maybe it's the number of times that I've heard the weatherman talk about Arctic fronts or Arctic cold blasts hitting the state of Oklahoma this winter, that it seems to be a bit cooler or colder than recent winters that we've had. Well, that brings about a question that we used to receive nearly every winter, and that was, what is the impact of temperature on birth weights of baby calves? It's hard to do that research because it's very difficult, of course, to have it be cold in one end of the pasture while it's moderate in another end of the pasture to make that comparison. The next best thing was done at the University of Nebraska's North Platte Experiment Station back in the 90s, where they compared birth weights of calves born to about 400 two-year-old heifers, and this was done over a 3-year period of time. And what they compared it to was the average temperature that was recorded during the 3 months before calving began. Basically the 3 months of December, January, and February. Most of their calves were coming in March and April. They compared the high and the low temperature of each day during those 3 years. And they basically averaged those two numbers to get the average temperature for each individual day. Well, to make a long story short, what they found was that one of the years the average temperature was 11 degrees higher than one of the other of the 2 years. In the year that the average temperature was higher or warmer, the birth weights of the calves was 11 pounds lower on the average. And this is perhaps the only data set that I know of that looks at the effect of cold on birth weights of calves. Here at Oklahoma State University, we have compared fall birth weights with spring birth weights on a number of occasions, and generally what we find is that the difference is about 5 pounds, with the heavier calves coming in the springtime after gestation taking place during cold weather. And in all of these cases, both at North Platte, Nebraska, and here at Oklahoma State University, they tried to make the genetics as similar as possible by using artificial insemination and using the same bulls to sire those calves. I think what we learned from these two experiments is that it looks like there is a difference based on ambient temperature, average temperature going through the gestation period, especially the last third of gestation, having an effect on birth weight of calves. And so if after this calving season and you do the checks on the birth weights of your calves and you find them just a little bit heavier than you expected, I'm not sure I would totally blame the genetics of the bull, but rather the colder temperatures that we seem to experience during this part of the winter season right before calving takes place. I hope this gives you a little better understanding of what can happen, the effects of weather on birth weights of calves, and we certainly look forward to visiting with you again next week on Sunup's Cow-Calf Corner.